Welcome to the What Day Is It podcast, one of the only podcasts on the market that you can count on us to bash the government and PETA at the exact same time every week. We are happy to have you guys back. Like I said, our listeners, you guys get a little participation trophy. This week we're going to follow up on some stuff from last week. We're going to tell some stories, talk about some dumb shit, and everybody that chimes in, I give you a little golden sticker for your wall like your SpongeBob in boating class. Anyway, we'll get right to it today for you guys. Right before we get started, I just want to catch base on a couple things from last week that we didn't talk enough about or had questionnaires. This is in regards to the Big Cat Public Safety Act. For those of you who don't know what that is, this is an act or a bill that got put in place after Tiger King that stops certain people from breeding, selling, transporting, trading cats, large cats, many species of large cats. And the reason I wanted to touch on this is because last week we didn't really specify it. Fluffy mentioned last week that it is illegal to sell cats back and forth, but we didn't really reiterate on that. And we talked about Shalom last week. They are, they're breeding their white tigers, and we talked about that. And everybody's out there talking about, well, they're doing this for the money. You can't sell them. You can't do it.
You can donate them.
You can donate them, and then some people will unlawfully give you a donation, and that's kind of how you can sell them.
Yeah.
But other than that, you can't really... It is illegal to sell them, so there are more kind of runarounds for it, per se. But we didn't really touch on that bill as much. We talked about it, but we just didn't get into that real quick. I put a comment under the last video for people to read it. And then while we were here, I had multiple people message me and pretty much ask in a nutshell, why don't they just make the white tigers sterile, which we did talk about. But the people decided to message me before finishing the podcast. So screw you guys. And if you're watching this one, I appreciate you coming back. But so I'll just get into that real quick for about, 5 seconds here. We talked about them castrating and, spaying white tigers for a brief moment last week. And just again, to in regards of what it would take to do that. One, we need the private owners to be on board with that. We can't just force them to do that unless the USDA would mandate that, which is not something that I see coming in the future. So that is completely up to the owner unless a law is put into place. So it's probably just something that's not going to happen.
For now,
if ever. And the white tigers, a lot of them do have health problems. Some of them are okay, but a lot of them do have health problems that would really mess with them while they're under anesthesia. So it's a very large health risk for some of those guys, I would believe as well. So I just wanted to spit that in everybody's ear hole real quick, just some stuff that's on my mind, and people were coming to, at me asking those questions. So that's just kind of a quick basis of things going on. Anyway, we will get on with the day. Fluffy and I recently watched a documentary. He had brought it to my attention. What's the title?
Elephant in the Living Room? The Elephant in the Living Room.
The Elephant in the Living Room.
Yeah.
So he brought this documentary to my attention, I don't know, a week or two ago, and I was like, you know what, let's watch it. He started watching it, and then I was like, let's finish it. Let's check this out, and we'll talk about it, and we'll let the people know what we think. The Elephant in the Living Room, despite the fucking title, is not about what you think it's about. It is not about elephants. It's an older documentary. It's about cats as well.
2011, right?
2011.
Oh.
So it's an older documentary about cats. It's not on a super large scale. It's not like Tiger King. It's not no bullshit like that.
Low production.
Very low production, which is cool. It was very truthful. It's a very honest and open documentary. but it's not the Netflix series that we're thinking. So it's on Amazon Prime and it's free, if that tells you anything.
Gets you in your feels though, that's for damn sure.
Absolutely. Amazon Prime, anybody can upload bullshit to there. We could probably put the podcast on Amazon Prime. Like they take fucking everybody.
It's like
on
Netflix.
It's not like Netflix at all.
They'll take anything nowadays.
No, they won't. Amazon Prime, you can literally upload your own movie. Bad, terrible comparison.
Anyways,
but this specific documentary follows a cop. His name's Tim Harrison, and he is a animal specialist for the force. The initial part of the documentary takes place in Ohio, and Ohio is they're not strangers to exotic animals. The Big Cat Massacre was in Ohio about also 10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah, a lot of bad animal stuff in Ohio.
A lot of good stuff too.
A lot of great
bad stuff.
Yeah,
but Ohio is no stranger to exotic animal problems. And anyway, Tim Harrison, the police officer, he is, I believe also he deals with firefighting and paramedics. I think he said he's one of the only counties in the country that you're all three at the station he's at.
That's what it sounded like.
So props to this guy. And he fucking wrangles animals for the force. He does all type of confiscations and saving critters and moving them and all types of stuff. And throughout this documentary, it shows him, also for some reason in Florida, and they're talking about the snake issues in Florida.
Yeah. At the one point they were down there, weren't they?
Yeah.
Was that with that bull or python or whatever?
It was a reticulated python.
That's what it was.
They catch these snakes in Florida because Florida has such a bad snake issue, and they catch them, they find homes for them, or they shoot them. This is a pretty graphic documentary. But to stop going in circles, it follows Tim Harrison, and the other main guy in this documentary is a man named Terry Bermfield, I believe his last name was, but we'll just call him Terry. And Terry, he is a big cat owner. He has one female lion, a lioness, and a male lion. Big, beautiful bastards. And Terry, he has kind of some rough history in his life. He was depressed and he had some issues and yada, yada, yada. He didn't want to get out of bed one day until his friend brought him some lions.
What a great friend.
For real, what a great friend. So it helped Terry out of his depression, which is cool. So what does that leave us with? It leaves an uneducated man with a couple of big cats for absolutely no reason.
Kind of dangerous.
A little bit. So Terry raises these cats in the house. Everybody loves them. They're his best friends. I can agree with knowing those feelings. We love our animals. So he ends up building this big monstrosity of a den in his backyard.
Wasn't that big.
It wasn't that big. I've definitely seen worse in size.
Seen worse.
At least in size.
Yeah. It was a monstrosity nonetheless, though.
But it was just, it was built like, it almost looked like it was built out of scrap metal. Maybe it was brand new at the time. I don't know. So anyway, this guy's got these two large tigers.
Lions.
Excuse me. I got tigers on the brain because of last week. Thank you. This guy's got two large lions in his backyard. This is a story that we all know. We all hear a million and one times. But what kind of made this documentary stand out, and for me in favor of it, is it was basically an hour and a half of him crying and weeping and moping about his cats and how they made him feel better, versus Tim Harrison, the police officer, telling people why they don't need exotic pets, what's wrong with the exotic pet trade, yada, yada, yada. And it's basically Tim versus Terry the entire time, but they're friendly.
They're friendly, and there's no bad blood there. No. It seemed like everything was pretty kosher.
I agree. No bad blood, but Tim was trying to advise Terry on what he thinks should happen. And to be honest, Tim was right.
Even helped him rebuild the cage.
He did. Tim was awesome to Terry,
If every animal cop was like that, I think it'd be a lot better out there.
I think so. But at the same time,
you need it.
Maybe Tim should have been a little less lenient too.
Yeah.
So the moral of this story really all binds into the ending of the documentary, which is the fucked up part. Terry had, outside of his like scrap metal cage, there's shit everywhere.
You left out the part about the cubs too.
He did have cubs. So the tiger
in the horse trailer.
That's true. Okay, we got to go backwards.
Yeah, we got to go back a little bit.
So
here.
before the ending, his lions, one or both, ended up escaping. Was it one or two of them?
I think one of them, and then they had to keep it in the horse trailer.
One of them got out, and so they moved both lions into a 4-horse trailer on the property. And these lions lived in that trailer for weeks. Weeks on weeks on weeks on weeks. It was
felt like
super
forever
fucked
in the
up.
documentary.
It did feel like forever, and it's sad. You see, it's actually on the cover of the documentary, the lion peeking through the sides of the trailer. It's fucked up. You can't clean it. You can't really get in there to do nothing with them. And the lions ended up having cubs in the fucking trailer, and you can't do nothing about it.
Nope.
And that it was just a super messed up situation. And Tim Harrison, the cop, as far as I could tell in the documentary, like, he knew, they were in the trailer, and the problem should have been fucking taken care of. When people found out that he was keeping lions in a trailer for fucking weeks on end, that somebody should have came there with a truck, hooked the fucking trailer up, and drove away with him.
But it took a while for him to find a home too, though. That
did.
was the problem.
It did take them a little while to find a home. That seems to be always a fucking problem.
Yeah, with big cats.
But to be honest with you, nobody shoot me for saying this, but if I knew they couldn't find a fucking home for these cats, I hate to say it, I even hate it leaving my mouth, but euthanasia is always a solution.
It's there.
It's fucked up, and I don't like to say it, but things are better than they had 3 or 4 cubs.
3 cubs.
3 cubs and 2 adult lions living in a horse trailer, a 4-horse trailer. And I don't know if you know how big lions get, but they're
pretty big.
They're pretty goddamn big.
And scary.
They kept them in the horse trailer so they could fix the pen. Then they went to a new home. The cubs 1 year after they were born on the date.
It was their birthday to leave.
But the unfortunate part is that Daddy Lion didn't get to leave with everybody. Because outside of the pen, they went back into their pen. They eventually fixed it. I don't remember what the fuck happened or how they got out. But this guy's property was like a junkyard.
Oh, yeah.
There was just shit everywhere. Metal, tires,
horrible.
You fucking name it. It wasn't a zoo. It wasn't a sanctuary. It was just some dude with a bunch of shit in the backyard.
Middle of fucking nowhere.
In the middle of fucking nowhere in Ohio.
With some cats.
And in the midst of all of his shit everywhere, he had freezers and fridges and stuff and places to put cat meat and things like that. And there were wires running all over the property.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, one of the freezers decided to have a fault in the circuit. And the cord was touching the cat pen, and the cat pen was wet on the floor. There was water on the floor. So, to put this lightly, it electrocuted the male lion.
And they obviously didn't know what was going on at first. The cat's stuck in the corner, screaming, and it's like, wow.
He's just letting out these slow, sad grunts of a roar.
Yeah.
And the documentary shows this entire process of the cat being electrocuted and sitting there, and it can't get
also
up.
A concrete floor, I believe, right?
I don't recall.
Looked like a concrete floor.
And
that's why it kept the moisture.
It shows, it could have been dirt too.
Yeah.
I don't know, mud and dirt. But it shows the entire process of this cat slowly dying. So if you want to watch this documentary, be weary. I got pretty emotional over it. It was kind of fucked up. And you can see Mama Lion, she's in her den, and you can see her sticking her paw out of the den to touch the ground, and she pulls her paw back right away. You can tell that she knows that the ground is hot. It's, she's going to get electrocuted if she walks over more. So eventually they try flipping all the breakers and this and that, and they stop the electricity from running through it. It was too late for the male lion. What the fuck was the male lion's name?
I forget his name.
It was actually a beautiful name. It reminded me of the Packer Stadium. What's the Packer Stadium? Lambert.
Lambert? Yeah.
The male lion's name was Lambert. I don't recall what the female's was, but the male name was Lambert. I'm certain of that. It's a beautiful name. I would name a lion Lambert. I love it.
4, I believe, too.
He was 4. So they were young. They were very young lions as well, and they did not deserve that death. I shouldn't say they. Lambert, the male, was the only one that passed away.
And at the end,
well, is it the mom?
The female, it sound from what I got from the recollection was the 3 cubs made it to a sanctuary or whatever, and then the mom passed in. Said before they got there or something like that. I don't know. Something got mixed up in translation or something.
Right.
Because it could have died from the dart. So who knows?
Right. It could have died in transport. She could have died when she got to the new sanctuary or wherever she was going. But it sounds like the cubs were nice and healthy. That's good. The reason I'm, bringing this story up and telling you guys about it is it kind of correlates with last week's podcast, getting into lions
and tigers.
It correlates with cats. But I'm so set on last week's podcast and pissed off about subjects on it that like tigers are in my head. But we're talking about lions. Sorry, everybody. I'll get it out. But it correlates with last week's podcast of talking about large cats. Yeah. And this specific documentary, it shows good and bad sides of things, and it shows love and compassion that people really have for these animals, even though at the end of the day, it ended up in these cats dying. But it's not Netflix love. It's not Joe Exotic. It's not Fake Carol. No. It's not Chimp Crazy love. It's not camera emotion. Like, these are real fucking people on a low budget camera, and like you feel for them as much as you feel for the animals. It's a very emotional documentary. It was made really, really well outside of the low quality. But hey, it was 2011. Not everybody had access to an immaculate camera.
Well, even the hidden cameras were just atrocious.
The hidden cameras looked terrible, but it got the point across.
It did.
At one point, Tim, the cop, he wore a hidden camera into a reptile expo to kind of touch on like all the small reptiles into in bins and buckets.
And the auction too, right? Was that one?
And an auction.
Yeah.
Yep. And they ended up bringing home a puff adder, a snake, a really, really, really deadly snake.
One of the deadliest in Africa, I believe.
From the auction, or from the reptile expo. They brought it home just so nobody could have it. He put it in a locked bin and sent it to.
No, they had this thing just like strapped closed with some bootleg shit. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, I gotta get this thing in a real box. So he pulls over on the side of the highway and does it on the side of the highway. I'm like, dude, no.
He put it in what looked like a Yeti cooler or something. Like, it was a big, bulky box with a lock or something.
Yeah, he had a lock on it with an actual lock and key.
It was a big-ass box.
But the thing, it was like a Rubbermaid before, like a see-through Rubbermaid, just with 2 straps around it. I was like, no.
Reptile people are crazy.
Nuts. Dude, they were carrying... They had little alligators, baby alligators, just baby stuff, just in like little to-go containers.
Yep.
At this reptile expo, I'm like, that's just...
And that's why they end up in the fucking river all the time, because people get them when they're young and cute, and they whip them out there.
They found Boots, the alligator from the farm, in the river just down the street.
Right.
What?
And... I respect people that work reptiles. I like reptiles. They're cool. They're fun. But I respect the professional side of things.
Yes.
I don't need people out here buying snakes and alligators and all this shit and releasing them because you know how to handle them.
Snakes.
That's why in Florida, you can find every species of fucking snake on the planet just thriving in Florida.
Yep.
If you take a walk through, some park in Florida, don't be scared if a reticulated python just goes across your foot. Like, it can happen.
And iguanas, too.
Iguanas, gators. Florida is our Australia.
Yeah. It's terrifying.
It's fucking terrifying. But seeing the wild gators is pretty cool. So you see a lot of mixed emotion in this documentary. It feels realistic. It feels very homemade, which, like grandma's pie can be a good thing. So we really, really, really enjoyed that part of it. And what's cool about the documentary is it doesn't keep up with today's legislation. Terry, as a cat owner, he's not able to do that anymore. Laws have changed. It's prohibited to own cats without certain permits and licensings these days.
I think they had a part in that, like that year or the year after. That's when they really started cracking down. That's when a law was introduced there.
Well, Ohio might have had something state.
Yeah, Ohio was state. Yep.
'Cause that 2011 might have been the year of the Big Cat Massacre.
It was right around there.
Because it was 10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So that was damn near at the exact same time. And then, it was 2011, so 10 years later, or So 11 years later was the Big Cat Act, because that was 2022.
Yep.
So, people can't do that anymore. And it's cool to watch a documentary and know that people like this are not getting their hands on cats anymore unless it is black market. Which, at that case, Tim Harrison, being the cop he is, if this were to happen again in his town, he now has the right to go in and move them cats.
Oh, yeah.
Before it was out of his jurisdiction, but now he can totally go in there, take care of stuff. If you don't have your license and permits, some cats will be gone the next day. So it's neat that the documentary doesn't keep up on with the times. And I did like Tim Harrison through the documentary.
Oh, yeah.
I normally, you know me, I'm old school. I don't really I bat an eye and look at everybody that works animals, and I kind of double check how they're doing things. I'm like, do I like you? I don't know you. But just through a little bit of a documentary, he knows what he was doing, I think. He was very professional. He knows his way around species. I don't recall if he even said he had a background in animals, but he was really good on the force, and he really managed all types of animals.
Well, I think he was cougar hunting at one point too, wasn't he?
Because somebody said that there was a cougar on the loose in the area.
Yeah.
So he was out trying to bait
And he
this
even
cougar.
was like, if it's a wild cougar, you're not seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to see you way before you're going to see it.
Right.
And if it's not a wild cougar, yeah, you got a chance of seeing it. It might come up to you closer. It's not going to be it's going to be more clumsy in the wild.
The guy seemed smart. I think he knew what the fuck he was talking about.
He knew, yeah.
So I do recommend watching the documentary. It's very emotional. You see he shoots a large snake. You see the lion get electrocuted. And to be honest, with
spoiler alert,
with what we see in this documentary, it's honestly kind of a shame that it didn't get bigger.
Yeah.
But on the same hands, if it got any bigger, it would have made life a mess before Tiger King as well. Though it's only an hour, it's not a whole season like Tiger King was, but it's really not the same. In my opinion, it's worse. It puts more of a bad light on private owners. But everybody in the Netflix series, they had licensing and permits, still doing dumb shit, but not
really
illegal.
Dumb shit.
But it was pretty good. Now, if you look at the documentary on IMDb or something, it shows a poster for it, and there's a bunch of 4 or 5 star reviews on it that are like, this is the best film I've ever seen. This film is incredible. This changed my life. I don't know. Those have to be fake fucking reviews, because it's not an action movie. You're not going to watch John Travolta ride a motorcycle.
It's very slow in the beginning.
It is super slow, but it's not something I would give a review saying this is the best movie of the year. What the fuck are you talking about? It's a documentary, for one. It's sad as shit. There's death. My review would have been heartbreaking, compelling documentary.
Yeah.
5 stars.
Yeah.
How do you go through all that and be like, yeah, this is the movie of the year, man? Cops shooting snakes and fucking redneck guy with a lion.
Kind of cool.
It's
cool.
It's fucking 480p camcorder in the pocket that he bought off eBay in 2008. It's that those reviews are not what I would say about it, but it will pull on your heartstrings.
Hey, the Human Centipede got high reviews too, I think, at one point. So.
But that was a movie, and it was high quality. It was high budget.
It wasn't that high.
The fucked up part about Human Centipede is I think it would work.
Oh, it totally work.
It would fucking work. You would die. You couldn't live off that shit forever. No. Literally that shit. But it would work. And the way they cut the faces and the assholes and put the skin into their face. If y'all ain't seen Human Centipede, watch this first. You might puke about it.
1, 2, and 3.
3 was actually my favorite. I've seen them all. I've seen a lot of fucked up movies. Go watch that shit before you watch The Elephant in the Living Room. You might have an easier time watching The Human Centipede.
Yeah.
At least it's fake.
Yeah, you can put that in your head.
Absolutely. So, that's kind of the main thing we wanted to talk about this week. That documentary really ties in to a lot of things from last week's podcast. And once again, it's just kind of cool to watch that documentary and you're like, people can't do that anymore. And it's not really up with the times, which it's a good thing for once that the world has changed a little bit since that documentary. Now, that being said, people that do professionally keep cats, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Do it right.
As long as you know what you're doing, the cats are happy.
Absolutely. I don't see anything too large in my future, but I still do see a cougar in my future.
Getting a cougar.
I would absolutely love to have one. I miss being around cougars. But doing it right tactfully, tastefully, and professionally.
Mm-hmm.
That's what matters. Make sure you got enough space. Make sure you got enough, care. You have a proper vet that knows how to handle these things. If you have to dart
That's
at you,
huge.
you have to be able to handle situations with cats. And one thing, I real quick before we move on to Fluffy's got a stupid fucking fucked up story for you guys. When it comes to cats and other animal, really any other animal, people always target the owners. Let's say I have, we'll just go to the cougar, for example. I have this cougar, and let's say we put it in a pen. Best example is 40 feet by 40 feet big. Pretty small. People are going to yell at me for that space.
Oh, yeah.
But they're coming straight to me. They're not coming to the people that run the government, the USDA and the DNR, that gave me the license to own this animal in this space. So basically what I'm telling you guys is think twice about the owner and run at the government too. Because I will tell you guys right now, the legal space needed in the state of Wisconsin, published by the DNR, the Department of Natural Resources, to house a fucking cougar is that 40 by 40 feet.
It's wild.
I might have that fucked up. It could be 20 by 20 and the bear might be 40 by 40.
We'll just go 40 by 40 to make...
What I'll have to double check. I'll circle back on that next week. But it's somewhere between 20 by 20 to 40 by 40, which is a small fucking enclosure for a cougar, nonetheless a fucking bear.
That has the largest roaming of any large cat in the world.
Dude, you gotta give them a little bit
Canada
of space.
to fucking South America.
They go everywhere.
Yeah, and you're gonna put them in a box.
Put them in a literal box.
Yeah.
It's not a 20 by 25, 20 by 20. That's a box. It's a fucking box. It's a perfect square. And when you do raise animals in captivity, some things change. The cat, it's not gonna want to roam across the world. It's gonna want to hang out with you. It's gonna want to be your buddy. You're going to be that cat's enrichment. It's gonna want to stay here. It's gonna know where the food is. So it's not the point of the cat needing to move around or wanting to move around. It's the respect point that this animal deserves more space. And within more space, you can train it to do more things. You can give it more things to climb on. You can give it more activities. It shouldn't be stuck in a fucking box. Now, should people own the cats if they're going to put it in that box? Absolutely not. But my point is, it's the DNR telling them that they can.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to pick our fights a little bit differently, and people need to go for the government a little bit more. Once again, we're the podcast that goes after PETA and the government in every single fucking podcast. Welcome. But I do respect cat owners that do it right. Moral of the story. Fluffy has a story to tell you guys this week. I just want it to be known before he starts, because this is a fucked up one, and it is honest, and it's in our life. But I want it to be known that I was maybe 16.
Yeah.
I didn't have a license. I didn't exactly fuck up. Just putting that out there. Anyway, go for it.
So, yeah, me and Shane, one of our first jobs together, I think it was, too.
One of them. You thought I hated you at first.
I did. So let's start from there. So one of the first days I came back from working at the farm, and I'm working on the turkey coop, the flight. I think we were putting some fencing on or whatever. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, they're working on the kangaroo pen just down the street.
Stop tapping your finger.
And yeah, I heard him saying, "Yeah, I hate that guy." I was like, "What?" Like, me? I was like, "Dude, I can hear you." He's like, "I don't care." I'm like, "All right, that's cool, man." And knew him from previous because he's my buddy's brother also. So
yeah.
So yeah,
there's two of me.
Yeah. Shane's cooler one. And so yeah, that was our first interaction. So yeah, we went to Juneteenth days up in Milwaukee. I believe it was, right?
It was something for Juneteenth. I don't know if it was like a specific Juneteenth day or it was some kind of block party.
It was a block party around. I want to say it was Juneteenth.
It was Juneteenth for sure.
Okay, so it wasn't the greatest neighborhood. There was a fight that broke out, I think, at one point.
There was, and
we had a pony ride petting zoo and a 4-horse trailer.
Mm-hmm. And we had a lot crammed in this.
We had a lot crammed in the trailer. Mm-hmm. Full. It was a pretty full petting zoo.
Yep.
And then
ducks, a tortoise.
Yep.
Sheep, goats, and then 4 ponies on top of everything.
And I think a llama in there too. Like it was tight. It was a tight little spot. And yeah, what truck did we have?
We had the green Chevy. We have the white Dodge. No, Bob came to get us in the white Dodge.
Yes.
We might have had the green Chevy. I'm gonna guess the green Chevy.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We were driving like a '97 green dually Chevy, piece of shit,
junk, gas.
fucking. It came okay, and then the company never took care of it. But it was in the shop a few times. I guess I shouldn't say that. It was a junk fucking truck.
All the trucks here were in the shop a few times, and well, that's what happens. You put thousands of miles on in a month. Like we beat the crap out of these trucks. Anyways, so yeah, we're going downtown Milwaukee. We do the job. Sketchy. We're already on nerves, and all right, it's time to pack up. Let's go. And we're driving down, what interchange is that by the clock tower? I forget the name of it, but
I don't know. We were on I-94 on the way home.
Yeah, we were just coming out of downtown pretty much, and we hit this bump by this bridge, and all of a sudden I felt the truck get a lot lighter. And then I looked to my right, and there's a trailer passing us. That's our trailer.
I hear, I'm in the passenger seat, little old me, it's my first year on the job, and I hear your Fluffy say something. He's like, fuck. And I was like, what's going on, man? And the trailer did touch the truck, and I felt the trailer, it bumped into the truck on the way in. And I was like, I looked back and I was like, oh my God. And Fluffy's like, fuck. And I look over to the right, man, and I see the ponies waving at me. Like, bye. And the trailer sped up and went past the fucking truck. It was gone. It was like in Talladega Nights, how they, what the fuck do they do? What's not the shake and bake? What's the trick that they do? Slingshot, engage.
Slingshot, yep.
If you guys seen Talladega Nights, how Ricky Bobby Ricky Bobby would drive behind his partner for something for aerodynamics, and they would
drafting, brother.
I guess drafts and shit, and it would help him speed up. And when he was ready to pass his partner, he'd say slingshot, engage, and he'd drive past the car, whatever. It's a NASCAR movie. It's literally what happened with the fucking truck and trailer, and the ponies just what you could in the slits of the slots on the side of the trailer. I could just see the pony eyes, and it was like slow motion,
wide-eyed too. They knew this ain't right.
No, it was fucked up. So Fluffy's freaking out, as he should be. He's the driver. Though he honestly, for Fluffy, he kept
it calm.
He kept it pretty calm. This motherfucker's got some anger issues, but he kept it pretty good. Honestly, I think I was freaking out more than he was. I was fucking freaked out, man. And the saving grace of the situation is the 2 or 3 lanes to the right of us were all under construction.
Oh, it was just a 1 lane.
1 lane?
It was just a 1 lane because after it bumped, it started going into the other lanes, and that's where that big arrow was.
Yeah, there's a big construction arrow sign,
flashing light arrow.
Yep. And why that's a saving grace is there was no coming traffic to the right of us.
Yeah.
At least in that lane,
and there's also a drop off hill. Like there was probably a 50-foot, 80-foot hill there that just went straight down to a neighborhood.
Yep.
No guardrail there. It's just like, see ya.
Yep.
I didn't go down there, but it kicked that freaking sign, man.
That trailer took out like 4 or 5 big traffic barrels, and then I don't know. Before and after, you're right, there was no guardrail there. I don't know if it hit one at any point in time. I don't think there was anyone anywhere.
So as it's sparking, let me put that picture in your mind too. The sparks, I'm like, if that hay catches on fire, we're done. Like
we're done.
That trailer's gone. So after it hits about the 4 or 5 barrels to the right, it hits that sign. Well, then it keeps going. After it launches that sign down that hill, now it keeps going, and now it's hitting barrels into traffic on the left side of the trailer. Just boom, first lane, second lane, third, it's shooting these barrels feet, 20, 30 feet, easily. And then it finally hits the guardrail right by the exit of the freeway that was under construction. And that's when it hit that guardrail and just kind of banked up against the side of it. Well, we pulled up behind it. I get out of the truck, and I'm like, oh, this is bad. And Shane goes, I'm freaking out, man. I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do.
I'm freaking out, man.
I was like, hey, man, listen, everything's fine. All right, we're going to be cool. Just go grab the barrels in the middle of the fucking freeway.
Yeah, I was out there like Toy Story with the barrels in the middle of the road.
Oh, my God. And I'm trying to figure out how to attach his truck and try to get other barrels. We're all trying to get the barrels off the freeway first. That's the first action. so somebody doesn't swerve and kill us.
Yeah.
So then the trailer's stuck down now. Didn't have a crank, right? I think we had to use a jack for that. I don't think if it had a crank, we couldn't pick up the trailer. Mm-hmm. We eventually got the trailer back up. Well, it turns out that good old Fluffy didn't realize the ball was the wrong size.
It was the only trailer on the property with a different size ball.
With the big ball, was that 2 1/4?
I don't know.
2.5.
Whatever. I never drove that trailer. I don't know.
Yeah, it was the biggest ball for a hitch.
So we're lucky that we made it to the job in the first place.
Yeah, that was impressive.
No safety chains. Trailer didn't have any.
Nope.
It was a real fucked up situation.
Yeah, we shouldn't have done that job.
But
that was part of the farm.
Yeah, I mean, the moral of the story, I guess, that everybody can take from this is double check your trailer balls.
Yep, check your balls, guys, because you never know.
Check your balls, make sure they're nicely shaven.
Make sure they're all nice and greased up, too, so that they don't squeak.
Absolutely.
You don't want squeaky balls on your trailer.
You do not want squeaky balls
on
your
trailer.
It's really
annoying.
It's so fucking annoying. It's so annoying.
It is.
It was a real fucked up story that I keep it in mind from time to time, and it makes me check my balls more. And for the first couple of years after that, every time I'd pass that clock tower, I'd take a photo of it and send it to Fluffy.
Every time I go over that jump.
But yeah, if you put the wrong size ball in, and I trust this man to haul my camels.
Yeah, idiot.
Fucking guy, I know.
I did put a dent in your trailer too last year.
That was a good one. But to end this story on a bright note, he ended up calling Bob, our old boss, and he took the blame for it.
After we were sitting on the side of the road for 3 hours easily?
It wasn't that long.
Was it 2 hours?
It was a little. I think it was that long the cops would have showed up.
They drove past us.
They drove past us.
Multiple times.
They did, which is crazy.
And you could see there was a path of destruction.
Yeah. We were there for a little while. I do think we saved ourselves a little grief by getting the fucking cones out of the road.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But he called Bob, I don't know what to do, blah, 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 blah. And we see we're on the, the right side of the highway going home, and Bob's coming from the left side of the freeway towards us, and we waited for him forever too.
Yes.
He took I don't know what the fuck he was doing, and this was when he still had legs and a little bit of foot, so he could drive.
Yeah,
and
kinda.
We see him coming on the left side of the freeway in a truck that is in much worse condition than ours. This little shitbox 1500 white Dodge. I wouldn't haul a fucking sled with it, and we put some weight on that bitch.
I cannot believe it survived.
Man, like the floorboard on the one side was falling out, like your feet could damn near fall through. That was a fucked up truck,
a Flintstones truck, dude.
And Bob ended up he told us to get out of here, and he took the hit on that. And that's the story of how Bob never got his license back, but it never mattered because he was getting his legs taken off anyway.
Yeah,
it didn't fucking matter. But that was cool of him at the very least. He might have fucked you out of some money, but he did save you on that one.
I think that's why he screwed me out of money. But that's also why I quit too. I just walked out.
It adds up. He took a pretty big fucking hit for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did.
You could have been without a license for quite some time.
Yeah. But I don't even know what he got charged for though.
I have no idea.
Honestly, because I think he could have still had a license.
He probably just didn't try to fight it because he was like, I don't have legs anymore. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, he was barely driving at that point anyways. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, Bob was when he could drive, he was a terrifying driver. Anyway.
Oh my god,
swerving and yelling and
when he would eat pizza driving, that was terrifying, dude. Truck and trailer loaded down, camel ride, pony ride, petting zoos, and fences on the side, obviously, and just hauling ass down the road, eating pizza, drinking Diet Mountain Dew, didn't get no cares in the world.
And when he says fences on the side of the trailer, the fences make the trailer 8 feet wide, which is about the legal limit you can be unless you're a wide load. But we are not. We're just a normal load. So yeah, that was fun. But that's I don't know. Should be one of your more fond memories of him at the very least.
Oh, I got a lot of fond memories about Bob. One of my favorite, again, driving, because Bob, oh man, driving with Bob was just entertainment in itself. Mm-hmm. And we were going up to Miller Electric, I think, the one day. And this is when Palm Pilot, that was the first GPSs that civilians could buy, really, for the handheld. And we're driving, and he knows where we're going, but he had to use it. Well, it's like, turn around. I'm not, you. He's just going, doing a Bobism, you know, Bob the Berserk.
Mm-hmm. Bob the Berserk.
And he's like, fuck it, it's going out the window. And on the entrance to Highway 100, this man grabs the Palm Pilot GPS off his dash,
fucking guy,
rips the cords out, and throws it right in front of my face. Like, whew, okay, that was cool, man. And it was there for weeks after that. I looked for it every time I got on that interstate. And it was there for a while.
That's hilarious.
Oh my God, it was so funny.
The first trip I ever drove with Bob with, it was right after, it was shortly after I got home from Denver with Mike, because that was the first time I ever drove trailer.
On a transport?
No, we were doing a camel ride in Colorado.
Oh, holy crap.
Yeah, me, him, and Robbie. And Michael took a nap. So he's like, you can drive in Nebraska because there's nothing fucking here. It's a flat land. Which was true.
Thanks, Mike.
I got first time driving truck and trailer, and I popped a fucking tire. Whatever. Anyway, fast forward. We get back. It's summertime-ish. And me, Mike, and Bob are supposed to go down to Florida, down to Lex's place. And Michael ended up getting queasy. You know how he doesn't really like to travel. So he called it off, and I said, I'll just drive, I guess. Or Bob told me I'm driving. I was like, fuck, man, you know, it's my first time driving, let alone my first time going cross-country with Bob.
Through mountains, too, right?
Through mountains. We were going through Georgia and all that.
Yeah.
And, trailer, I think the trailer was empty because we were picking stuff up. Because we brought home a camel and some halflingers. And anyway, Michael did give me his GPS. He had a GPS named Lola, and we just started on the trip. I was programming Draft Ranch's address into this fucking GPS, and Lola's saying, I don't know, you'll arrive at your destination. And Bob, straight as a fucking missile, man, he was like, turn that fucking thing off, or I'll throw it out the fucking window. So I unfucking, you know, sucked it from the screen and the windshield and put it back seat, and he's like, I'll tell you how to get there. And sure as fuck, the motherfucker told me how to do it.
He was great with directions.
Yep, absolutely. I do have to backtrack on that. I went to Florida one time before that without Bob, and I remember this now because he wrote me a paper map. Like MapQuest.
He told me about that.
It was like MapQuest. But he wrote it all. Turn at this interstate, follow this one, follow Chicago to this, to that, and it'll get you all the way to Lex's place. And I turned my GPS on. I wanted to do that. But it was accurate. It was right. He was a human atlas.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, he had been to every corner of the country so many times.
And he grew up doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we take GPS now for granted. Like,
absolutely.
1,000%. Like,
I would be about as useful as a dead bird without a GPS.
Yeah.
Michael makes fun of me all the time. He's like, you following that blue line again? Look, man, I'm a fucking 97 baby, dude. Like, I was around at just the right time for GPS, dude. And shout out Google Maps. You guys save me all the time.
Well, and I got Android CarPlay.
Mm-hmm.
Even for short trips, I'll just plug it in, just be like, oh, that's my arrival time, because it already pops up on my screen. Yep. And, oh, look, you're going here? Yeah, how did you know I'm going there? That's creepy, but yeah, let's go there.
It knows your patterns, man.
It does.
It's kind of creepy.
It is.
But yeah, that was the first time I went to Florida, and then I went with Bob, and he told me to shut the GPS up or he'll throw out the fucking window. And I was like, well, I'm not going to, let him break Michael's GPS.
And how long were you working? You were working here for a few years before that, right?
Yeah, I didn't get my license till I was 18.
Yeah, that's right.
I started when I was 15. That's so right. I was somewhere between 18 and 19 or so, something like that. And then I ended up quitting for a little while, which is one of my bigger regrets in life, because it was, by the time I got back, we only had so much time left with Bob. Which, I got a little bit of time, but I quit because I told him, and I was super emotional. I was like, I got to go somewhere to make more money, man. Like, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to be an adult, which was the dumbest choice of my life. I love this. I should have never left. And I didn't exactly need the money. And then I got fired from that job, and for some bullshit. I started applying for jobs, and I got in at 2 Men in a Truck. I wanted to go work with, I don't know, moving couches or something. I was just looking
Sounds way funner.
I was just looking for any job I could, and I had training. I went through paid training there for about 4 days. It was all paid, and then I worked 1 day at 2 Men in a Truck. And you know what? It was fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I had a great fucking day. The biggest downfall is I wasn't as strong as everybody. You know, I was the weaker link on the crew, but I could lift some shit, especially, you know, with a couple people and help maneuver carts. And, you know, had I stayed, I think I would have, you know, fell into the position a little more. But I had a great day. The people I were with were fucking funny as hell. You know, they took me right in. The manager was nice. Like, I'm sure if I would have stayed longer, I would have found more fucked up shit about the job. But, like, I had a great fucking day. I had no reason to quit. But Cody called me that day and said, we need one more person to go to Florida. And I walked into 2 Men in a Truck and I said, thank you for the job. I actually had a really good day, but I got a better job opportunity. They didn't know I'd worked here prior, you know, and I was like, I got to go do it. And
I'm going to Florida, bro.
Going to Florida. And, you know, the guy I was with, he was like, you know what? I appreciate you. And, you know, because of how open and honest you were, you know, you always got a job here. You know, so if you need work, come back. That's totally cool. And it was a cool, you know, I had a really good day that day. And then that's back to Florida. I went with the farm.
That wasn't your first like real job though, right?
2 Men.
Because you worked here first.
I worked here, and then when I quit initially, I went and worked. My ex, her mom was dating the owner of Image Realty.
Oh, okay.
It's mostly slum houses. Nice. He's kind of like a slumlord. I don't know, Jerry, he's a cool guy or whatever, but it's mostly like, you know, crappy properties. And the first day of that job, how about this shit? The very first day I ever worked for this motherfucker, I was working with the like kind of the right hand man of the property. We were going to some ghetto house in Kenosha to clean it up. They had to get it cleaned for new tenants. I was with this guy named Cliff. And Cliff, you'll never see this, but if you do, man, we get here and these people, they had like, it was the second story unit we had to clean out. We had to clean the windows and move some shit. And they had a bunch of fucking shitty diapers on the back porch, and we had to shovel it out and throw it in trash can. Dude, it was fucking gross. It was so gross. And the moral of this story, Cliff was he was a hobbit. He was like this 4'9", stubby, hairy, weird dude, okay? And I'm washing this window to, like, kind of on the front of the house. I'm washing this window, and Cliff's washing this window to the left, on the left side of the house, right? No, it'd be the right side of the house, whatever. I turn around, I was going to ask him something or talk, and I really don't remember the situation, but Cliff dropped his phone on the floor, and Pornhub was playing. I was like, no
my man.
Fucking way. Dude, you're watching porn on the job, Cliff. On the job, bro.
How do you do that?
How do you do this shit? And I for like completely like blank the question out of my head or whatever. I turn back to my window. I go, I just start cleaning the fucking window like I couldn't, you know, there's no tomorrow, man. And that was so. While I worked there, I was with Cliff quite a bit. You know, we would hop in his SUV and pull around a trailer and pick up garbage, remove decks, move appliances, just whatever the fuck. 'Cause it's a realty company.
Now, while people are living there, like you're getting this place ready.
We were getting it ready for the new
sale.
tenants.
Oh, sale or rent?
Rent.
Okay.
Rent. He's a slumlord.
Yeah.
So I was with Cliff all the time, and he would set his phone on the center console of the SUV, and it would ding emails all the time, and he didn't have his notifications set on private, you know. And
jeez, dude.
He'd get emails from like find your new wife, or you know, foot lovers websites, or you know, prostitute this, like, because you know he was visiting these websites and getting this spam. He was ought to be top 10 horny man I've ever met in my life, if not top 5. And I just couldn't believe he was watching porn on the job while cleaning a window,
impressive.
dude. Like,
That's addiction.
I think the only I've told my ex about this because she's the reason I got the job, and then her brother because I actually worked with her brother there as well. I think those are the only two people like I've talked about this with. I don't care. It's funny, but it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like how is my manager watching Pornhub on the job and I gotta wait to go home to do it? This is fucked up, man. I want a raise, man. But about a year, I worked there for about a year, and I ended up getting fired. There was this dumb motherfucker. There was another manager there named Bob. So we were all
the evil Bob.
The evil Bob. He was this big British bald dude, ugly motherfucker. And we weren't all employees of Image Real Estate. We were
subcontractors.
We were contractors.
Okay.
So we were all on like 1099s or whatever the fuck it was to be contractors, but Cliff was a lead contractor and Bob was like another main contractor, and so we were all their contractees or whatever. And I just stopped getting work. Like they would stop calling me in, and then Sam, my ex's brother, was like, hey, I think Bob's firing some people or whatever, and I stopped getting, so I text Bob. I text this ugly bald motherfucker, and I was like, hey, I heard you were firing me. And he said, you got it, buddy. I said, dude, no fucking way. I had swore to myself if I had ever seen that motherfucker in public, I wasn't going to start a brawl or nothing, but I sure was going to let him have it. I've never seen him.
No.
I've never seen the big motherfucker. He was just this tall, fat British dude. He was like
a governor. Like,
yeah, literally like British as fuck.
Wow.
British as a motherfucker. English, I don't know, all the same category. He sounded like the fucking peanut butter people.
Hey,
dude.
They lost the first war. Okay, that's all that matters.
That's fucked up. We can't say that here, goddammit.
No, they lost the Revolutionary War.
That's fucked up.
That's our first war.
I get it.
We win, yeah. Up. Freedom, baby.
No politics here.
We're not. That's history, bro.
That's kind of politics.
It's history.
It brings in politics and racism. It is history. It's true, but you're blaming...
Civil War is racism. We're not touching on that one today.
History's cool, but the problem with it was I was talking shit about a British dude, and you were like, fuck them, they lost the war.
Well, yeah. and their food sucks.
Yeah.
They fought years for spices, and they don't even season shit. Like, they're horrible people.
And this guy was a dickhead. But
it sounds like it,
So he let me go on some dickhead shit, and that's when I went to Two Men, and then I ended up here, after the first day I worked at Two Men. So I guess a little bit of history of me today.
That was fun.
Yeah, a little bit. It was kind of fun. But yeah, bosses watching Pornhub is fucking nuts.
That's up there.
It was stupid. It was fucking stupid. Like, I can't make that shit up, dude.
I mean, you're not even doing it in private, though. You're just like, it's there. And did you have an ear plug in or something?
I think it was just on silent. I think the phone was just on silent.
That's even
so
weirder.
He was watching porn with no volume.
Yeah.
Fucking weirdo.
That's strange.
You guys are worried about tigers in captivity. We need to handle these people. Fucking Christ. But we got a little bit off track here. This is not a Pornhub podcast. So I got a couple other things. Maybe we could talk about a couple of them. I'm going to breeze through this one. This is a title.
Oh, kitty stuck.
Podcast cat. That's PC over there. If you guys heard that, there's a cat in the room and he's over there being an idiot doing cat stuff.
He's being a cat.
This is a title off the news. Woman pays hefty price for sneaking exotic animal across state lines. Quote, an error in judgment. This was about honestly, I don't even remember the fucking state. I don't give a shit. This woman she crossed state lines with an African serval. And she got a $15,000 fine. $15,000 fine. And claiming she was crossing state lines for veterinary care. So this is an odd subject. But usually things are okay to cross state lines for some type of veterinary care. There are loopholes here, but this woman, she didn't call anybody. She didn't alert anybody. She didn't call the state. And usually to cross state lines, you need a certificate of veterinary inspection.
Something.
Which she was going to go to the vet. You need that certificate before you leave state lines for most states. So let this be known. Check your municipalities, check your state laws. Each state is different when you're going in and out of state. And if you are getting a new animal or want an animal, check what it takes to get into your state, out of the states. through states you're going through. There's some states that ban transports through them with big cats. Like, you have to be careful what you're going through. Just don't be like this woman. Play it careful. You know, she was going to the vet to take care of this cat. I guarantee you, whatever her vet bill was, it was not going to be $15,000.
Oh, absolutely not.
So she is out of a lot of money. Double check your city, state regs and transport laws. Don't get a ticket like this dumbass.
Did it say how she got busted? Like speeding and they just got pulled over?
I don't remember.
Oh,
truly.
okay.
Let's see here. According to Purina, I don't give a fuck about Purina. Obviously an error of judgment.
Yeah, a little bit.
For fucking sure.
And like, was it in a crate? Just in the back of a car? Like, I'm interested in this kind of a little bit, but
I don't recall.
Don't really care that much, but $15,000 for a fine.
Yeah,
that's wild.
I don't quite call.
And did she keep the cat too? It sounds like.
I should mention that this wasn't in the United States. This was in Canada.
Oh, well, that's, yeah.
It's the same laws pertaining. There are states. You know, just double check everything.
So it was a Mountie.
But I don't know how she got busted. But that's like speeding is one good aspect. If you're driving with a fucking, I don't know, Ricky Bobby Cougar in the back of the car, okay, two Talladega Nights references.
There we go.
If you're driving like an asshole and get pulled over, that's how they find the animals. You know, like when you go to Florida, there's agricultural stops. It doesn't matter if you have a fucking dog or a rhino.
Oh yeah.
You know, you have to stop at this agro stop and tell them what you have. And if you go past this agriculture stop with like a horse trailer and don't stop, they will take your fucking animals. They will take your trailer. If you get out of that with a slap on the wrist, you are the luckiest person on the planet.
Fun story real quick. Mm-hmm. All right, actually, what was the coolest thing you had to pull through there?
Pulling through there, probably just camels. We came back home with we had a bunch of horses. We had some monkeys.
But you didn't have to go through the port then, right?
You have to go. You have
on the way out too. You do.
Yep. There's an in and an out.
Okay.
And on the way out, when we were pulling through with the horses, camel, monkeys, and some other stuff, it just so happened to be that the Florida Fish and Wildlife was filming for like training purposes.
Oh man!
So we were opening up the side of the trailer and showing them the capuchin monkeys and shit, and they had this big film like camera. It was kind of spooky.
That's pretty cool.
But I've had some times like I'll pull up to the window and be like, "Hey man, I got a camel," and they'll just flag me through. Excuse me. I've had other times where they're like, all right, pull over, bring us your paperwork, blah, 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 blah. But you had a story to go along with it.
Oh, yeah. So, not to my own horn or anything. Coolest, funniest thing going through that port I've had happen was, I believe I was with me and Bob when we were taking a giraffe from Montgomery, Alabama to Lex's place. Mm-hmm. I think that was his first place.
Yeah.
I want to say. And, so I felt like Zach Galifianakis driving a giraffe down the road, and one thing you're not thinking of, now you can crank the giraffe trailer down. I didn't realize you could do that. I mean, you know.
You can adjust the height of the roof of a giraffe trailer.
So, like, we did that, but we're still tall. Yep. Like, you still got to watch your height. I'm not used to that. I'm used to driving a sedan.
Yep.
And, or just a regular camel trailer.
Yep.
And,
8 feet tall.
Yeah, 8 feet tall. We're going underneath this bridge, and Bob sees it. He's passed out pretty much, but he sees it. He's like, how tall is the bridge? I'm like, I don't know why. Like, who cares? He's like, you know we're hauling a giraffe? I was like, oh no. I was like, oh, it's like 18 feet. He's like, all right, we should be good. Like, not even a thought in my head. But anyways, so we get down to Florida, and we go into the port, and we get flagged because strange looking trailer. I'm like, so what are you hauling today? I say, giraffe. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, giraffe. All right, let's see it. Like, stone cold, like, there's no way there's a fucking giraffe in here. Go in the back,
Were
I'm like...
you using Lex's big green giraffe trailer?
I think it was gray at the time.
Okay.
It was like a light dark gray or
Looks like a military vehicle.
Yeah, it looks like with the 4 cranks on each side.
The one I used had 2, but...
Okay, yeah, this one had one on each side. So this probably was his older one, I'm assuming. Because is that the one you broke your nose with?
The new one, yeah.
The new one, yeah. Shane broke his nose with the new one.
I did.
And so we go in the back of this trailer, and I'm like, we're kind of warning him, like, hey, just let you know, we open this door, shit could happen, even though it was behind another thing. Yeah. But We open the door. He peeks his head in. He's like, "That's a fucking giraffe. Yeah, you guys are good to go." He said, "Thank you, sir. Have a good day." Like, that was pretty cool. Just the guy from like staying stone cold to be like,
holy shit, it's a giraffe.
Shit, he wasn't lying. Like they thought they had drugs or something good. Something good. Nope. It's a giraffe, bro.
That's so funny. Like, we weren't lying, dude.
Yeah. For once.
It was either Mike or Jason. They were hauling a rhino down there. And whichever one of them it was told me that they pulled up to the window and the guy said, "What are you hauling?" And he said, "Rhino." And the guy said, "No, you're not. Get the fuck out of here." And then he just drove away. there was a fucking rhino in the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, some of these officers just don't.
We did a lot of rhino transports back in the day. It's crazy.
Unfortunately, I was not along for any of those.
Yeah,
but
I missed out on a couple of them. I missed out on a lot of fun stuff here.
Me too.
I got to do fun stuff.
I wish I was born a little earlier.
Oh, yeah, because you didn't even see the elephants when they were here at one point. No. I used to come here and feed them when I was really young.
That's so badass.
It was really cool.
That's so badass.
Different times, though, because I remember when the barn burned down, too, you know, and they had to rebuild it. And yeah, that was
wish I was here through it all. But
yeah.
Unfortunately, I wasn't, but I guess things worked out.
Yeah. Now you own the place, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, that fucking sucks.
Being broke your rest of your life.
Oh, man. Don't fucking remind me.
But you enjoy your life.
Sometimes.
You
I do.
fun.
I do. I won't fool nobody.
I couldn't see you working at 2 men in a truck, all right?
No, me
I
neither.
couldn't see you doing
I still
that.
got the sweater. It's one of the softest sweaters I've ever had. But it's a work sweater now. Fuck it. You know, it's actually in pretty good shape yet.
That's funny.
Speaking of the elephants here, my mom sent me some bullshit earlier, and she was like, "I know this is true. I know this." My mom's kind of like, she's more of like an animal activist, you know, and we're two different peas in two different pods, you know, and I grew up with a mom that doesn't like zoos, and I own a fucking zoo, you know. She sent me this photo. The top photograph is an elephant that says "before carrying tourists." And the bottom photo says "after carrying tourists." What do you think of this? Tell me that ain't some bullshit.
That's like that looks fake.
The first thing I want to state is in the post it says that was after 25 years of work, and the elephant is 71 years old. Yeah. The first thing I want to say is the bottom. You think the top picture 25 plus or 30 years ago? You think that photo would be just as high quality and high definition to match that?
Absolutely not.
That's it. This is fucking bullshit. And elephants, they can lift up 6,000 pounds. That's not happening. Yeah. That like horses get sway back.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, it's an elephant.
That photo just pissed me off. I'll have to throw that on the fucking screen.
It's like the guy when you're on TikTok the other day when we were doing the camel caravan. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Oh, walking them, you're shortening the lifespan or something like that."
What
he
the
said,
fuck are you on about?
Like, I was like, "What? So they take 1,000,000 steps and then they die? Like that's
Right.
it? You can't walk no more after 1,000,000? Like what? The things that go in between these people's heads is like insane.
People are dumb, man.
And they're just ignorant, and they think that they know what they're talking about, and they're not even close. They're not even in the park. Like,
go ahead. Don't exercise your camel. Watch him die.
Don't exercise yourself. Don't exercise your camel. I'm one to talk. And don't exercise anything, and see how long you live. You've seen Wall-E. Actually, I just watched it the other day.
Never finished it.
No, but you've seen the fat people in the yeah. Mm-hmm. That they're not exercising.
No, and
they're dying.
And it's it's like humans too. When somebody quits working, it's over. When people retire, they die faster.
Once you slow down, Once you slow down.
Speak of the devil. We'll talk more on this next week. Go watch it. I finished Chimp Crazy the other night.
Ah, okay.
And it really wasn't entertaining. There wasn't like anything that blew my mind in it. You know, the main lady, it's kind of uneventful. I liked the side characters in it, the people that were amongst the people that got attacked by chimps and the other like circus actors and stuff like that. There was one lady that I think she was from Florida, fucking of course. I liked her. She was crazy as shit, but she knew her animals and she spoke like I would spoke on the bullshit. And she straight up said, she was like, once these animals quit working, they don't last long, you know. And it's not about the health of them. It's like us. You take away their life. Yeah. You know, they get depressed. They know one thing, and you can put an animal into a gradual retirement and things are going to be okay. But Doofus, he's 25 years old. Doofus the camel, he's semi-retired.
Yeah.
But we send him out so he gets exercise because I don't want to lose my boy.
And he enjoys working.
They do. A lot of these animals enjoy working, especially those chimps, man. They're so close out. They like to entertain.
Yeah.
They like to entertain. They like to get congratulatory. And reckon I don't really completely agree with people owning apes, but when raised in captivity, you have to maintain certain things. You know, the one other thing I want to say about Chimp Crazy, we'll talk more on it after you watch it, but the only other thing I want to touch on before then is the show is so PETA related, and not like the other documentaries, but there's one spokesman for PETA in that show.
Really?
There's two actually, but there's one specific one, a woman, who says, and I quote along the lines of, "People with exotic animals know we're a threat to them. We know their darkest secrets."
Oh.
And she said the first line, and my first thought was, the fuck you are. You're the threat for fucking idiots, and you're the threat for people that are causing problems. You know what? If you want to go after people that are holding lions in fucking horse trailers, you know what? So be it. But people with exotic animals, that is a very large pool, and I don't do anything fucking wrong. No. So fuck you and your lying bullshit and all your brainwashed followers. Fuck you, PETA. You know how many fucking animals you kill a year? Fuck PETA. And the darkest secrets? What did I do wrong? You might have just said one of the darkest secrets. We had lost a trailer on the fucking freeway.
That was horrible.
Sue me. Sue me. We fucked up. There was a kid down south that had a fucking trailer fall off, and he killed a whole camel. And he's a camel trainer.
Yeah.
It happens. It fucking happens. Like, it's fucked up, and it shouldn't happen, but fucking sue you, Pete. I'll tell you my deepest secrets before you come and dive at me.
And again, I don't know how many people know this, but PETA kill the crap out of animals. They'd rather have a dead animal than have an animal that's in bondage.
Absolutely.
Like, fuck out of here, dude. Like,
why have it captive when it can be dead?
They don't even want you to have a dog, cat. They don't even want you to have goldfish.
Nope. Not a goddamn thing. There's a photo from PETA. It was probably like 2017 or so. Because I was in high school. It's a photo of a guy from a band called I Killed the Prom Queen, and that's the only reason I saw the photo. So he's a fucking vegan or whatever. He's the guitarist or bassist. Cool guy, yeah. And PETA partnered with him to do a photo op, which they were a smaller band still. They never really made it anywhere. That's probably how they got a hold of him. Anyway, he was holding a fake sheep carcass or a body, and it was all scratched up, cut, bloody, hairless, and the quote was like something like, "This is what happens when people shear sheep." It was total bullshit.
If my eyes could roll any farther back in my head right now.
Like, they butchered the fuck out of this sheep, and it was not realistic at all. We sheared sheep here every year, you know,
sheared llama, sheep,
everything. Like, if you know what you're doing, you're not going to cut the thing at all. Like,
you don't want to cut the animal.
No, you want to take its hair off. So A, if you're a farm, you can sell it, or B, we just sheared them here so they didn't get too hot in the summer. That's all it was. Because sheep, I don't know how much fucking you know about sheep, but they grow a lot of hair. You know, so we got to get that off for the health of the animal.
It's like the things that they used to wear, you know, cotton and wool.
Never
natural
heard of
stuff.
It.
Crazy.
Yeah, never fucking heard of it. Yeah, you go ask some PETA fucking people, what's your shirt made out of?
Right.
Dumbass.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ. I got two more things here we'll vast over kind of quickly. We're past an hour mark here. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
We'll do this one first. 750 million genetically engineered mosquitoes approved for release in Florida.
Huh.
What do you think of that? So what they're doing here is they are genetically mutating mosquitoes, essentially to give birth to mosquitoes that die younger. And they're doing this to the females, because the females are the ones that prick people. The males don't. So these genetically engineered mosquitoes don't have disease, and they can go breed with others, but their babies are all going to die young in hopes to stop mosquito diseases. So which is kind of cool, but it's kind of scary that we're genetically engineering mosquitoes.
Yeah, but it's also the deadliest animal on the planet, so.
Thanks, who brought the English? The English brought the mosquitoes over.
Oh, yeah. They brought a lot of stuff over.
They brought fucking everything over here.
Yeah.
He's from fucking, you know, mosquito-borne diseases to rabies, you know, and they came over here. They brought everything. So, yeah, thank those guys.
Yeah.
So just quick
rabies
brush
too?
past that. Yeah, they came over with the dogs and stuff.
Yeah.
So this one's kind of unique. I don't know if you've seen it. It didn't print well, but I don't know if you've seen the woolly mice.
Oh my God, it's adorable.
Isn't it so cute? So that is a genetically engineered mouse. to look like that. That is a woolly mouse, they're calling it. It's super, super cute. But they're using this to talk about how the woolly mammoth being reimagined could be closer than we think it is. They gene spliced this fucking mouse to have woolly hair. It's cute and it's scary. Right? It's really, really cool, and we're playing God. And I don't know if we should be doing this. As much as I want to see the woolly mammoth, I don't know if we should be doing this.
Well, do you remember, you were probably too young. Actually, it's probably before you were born. The whole cloning thing with the sheep?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so look up that sometime. I think it happened like early 90s, I want to say. Where, the government's like, yeah, we don't need to do this. Even like the Vatican was going in on it. Like, yeah, there's a couple countries that do cloning yet, but like, yeah, I remember when the first cloned sheep like was a thing. I was like, wow, okay.
Do they have like extra ears and
No,
shit?
no. It was a clone of the other one. Like,
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, check it out. It's pretty wild.
So,
but this woolly mammoth, I heard about this like when I was young. They're like, yeah, we're gonna find woolly mammoth DNA. We're gonna put it in an elephant, and we're gonna make a woolly mammoth. I was like, excuse me?
Yep.
You want to bring back those terrifying creatures? What's next? A saber-tooth tiger too? That'd be cool.
Absolutely. I think they're working on the Tasmanian tiger.
That would be awesome. Those things are ridiculous looking.
So the question to me raises is, what happens when we get this woolly mammoth? Now, are we going to inseminate an elephant and birth it that way? Or are they going to grow it in a lab? Is the lab going to house it? Is it going to go to a zoo? Are they going to auction off the first woolly mammoth to the zoos in the country? Is it going to be governed by the USDA?
Go to San Diego, baby.
It would go to San Diego, 100%.
1000%.
Like I have so many questions about this, and it brings up, my question that I had the other week of, what would happen if Jurassic Park was a real place? Like, are we going to follow the same rules and regulations as USDA governed? Do we have shift doors for the little ones? What ones are class A, B, and C? Like, do we have veterinary protocol? Is PETA going to be outside Jurassic Park even though they're all man-made?
Oh, yeah.
So many questions. Yeah. We should talk about that some more sometime with just a crazy list of questions. We should talk about that with Billy. I bet he'd be fun about that.
Yeah.
But so much fucking crazy shit going on in the world, from losing trailers and lions and horse trailers, woolly mice, people getting $15,000 tickets for not fucking knowing their municipality laws, and yada, 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 guys. But I think we are going to let you go.
That's about it.
We appreciate you guys listening to us rant for another Wednesday. We hope that we have tickled your ear holes and that you feel good after this, or worse once you watch that documentary. Let you decide. As always, if anybody has any questions or topics,
questions, give us something here, guys.
As much as you want us to talk about, we will talk about as professionals. We will tell you what we would do in certain scenarios, if things are right, if things are wrong. Whatever the fuck you want us to talk about, let us know. Hit me up on TikTok, send us an email, wherever you want it to be.
Click that like button, too.
Click that like button, click that subscribe button.
Don't smash it, just click it.
No, smash it.
No, you don't
smash it like you're watching Pornhub while you're watching Windows. But without further ado, guys, I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. We will catch you next week.
Happy hump day, everybody.